All right, the one-page miracle, one of my favorites, actually, because when I first started down this path towards what I would call an entrepreneurship journey, but really my purpose, which is digging into what I really care about, and I came up with two things that I cared about, which was food health, agriculture, and then education. And I couldn't wait to create a vision board around that because I had really never done that, right? I mean, how many times do you take a moment and actually outline what you want for your life, like in vivid detail with some visuals and some goals? Like it can be exciting and exhilarating, even if some of it feels like it's so far away, right? Like building a company and getting to a certain point and living the life that you want with your kids and where you want to live, and like all that stuff can feel so far away. But when you visualize it and put it into a little bit of a plan, it starts to come reality. And it gets you up and drives you every day. I mean, who doesn't want that? Like, imagine waking up every day and hitting that alarm and just feeling like you're going into work every day and you're punching your time, and maybe you're supporting your family. That's great. But what would it look like to wake up every day eager to get going? Like, I can't wait to go on this next step for my brain health, or I can't wait to build this vision plan or this next step. Like, that is powerful. And so that's one thing that this one-page miracle can get you started on. And so that's why I'm super excited to share this with you. I have some examples and some visuals to bring up around this, including my own, because I want to show you what I've even put into my one-page miracle, just at a basic outline, even though I love whiteboarding, and I would encourage you to do that too, right? Grab a marker, grab a crayon, write it out, map it out, colorful, make it memorable. But let's dig in. So, one-page miracle. What do you want in life, right? And we talk about the four circles of brain health, but we all come from a different place at a point in our lives. And if you're at a fork in the road, I would encourage you to go and check out the Fork in the Road course, where we talk really in depth around how you come up to that, that wall or that decision in your life where you need to make a change and you're not sure how to navigate that. We've built a course to help with that, and that includes a one-page miracle, but really digs into habits. But a one-page miracle is really, what do you want? Like, what does life look like if you were able to master certain levels to basically get what you want? Like, what do you want with your health? What do you want with your relationships? What do you want with your connection? Everything. And so let's dig into that a little bit. Like, let's start jogging our memory and our brains to start thinking about those type of things. And so what we've done for the one-page miracle, and I would encourage you to download the exercise in the resources section here for this lesson, so you can go through this exercise with me. Well, what I'm going to do is pull up the one-page miracle, and we're going to talk a little bit about it, and then I'm going to show you some examples. And so for the one-page miracle, so again, what do you want, and what does it look like to make that happen? And we're going to slowly build towards a goal habit plan. But in your resources, you should have a document that looks like this, and it's broken down into the four circles of health. Now, you can choose the way that you want. I would encourage you to do anything. Just kind of maybe use these principles as an outline. But this is a good starting point if you're not sure where to go. So, biological, brain health. List out something that you would love to improve relating to your brain health. And if you're not sure where that is, please go and visit the discovery section of this site. We have tremendous short assessments and quizzes out there to literally take you 5 minutes or less to fill some of them out that will tell you where you're at with your current brain health, and it might actually lead you into some early indicators of where you would like to focus. And so some of those assessments include our mnemonic, which is brain. So breathe, rejuvenate, aliments, ignite, and nutrients. And there's a whole quiz around where you fit and all those different dynamics or those principles in life. There's memory, like early memory loss indicators, assessments out there. Do I love my brain? Like, what do I do on a daily basis, or what I don't do on a daily basis that helps out my brain, right? So if you feel a little stuck on where you should go, I would encourage you to go fill those out. But what does it look like to improve your brain health? Your physical health. Like, are you okay with how you move, right? And I'm not talking about what you look like. That's great. Like, if you want to look a certain way and it matches what you love in yourself, amazing. But what we're really talking about here is, what does your physical health look like? Because your physical health has a lot to do with your brain health. There was a study done that showed that if your waist size and body mass index size is actually larger than where it should be, or it was outside the spectrum of where it should be for your height and weight, then it actually places a little bit more stress on your brain health. And so mild cognitive impairment, or your optimal operation of your brain health, is really related to your physical health. And so how could you really hone in on that, knowing that, if you are in a state where you could lose some weight, exercise more, that it really could play a key role in improving your brain health. And so where do you sit with physical health? Psychological. Where's your emotional health at? Are you okay with ants and automatic negative thoughts and past dragons, or do you struggle with that on a daily basis? Do you have negative self-talk? Do you actually love yourself? Like, do you actually think about yourself, and are you kind to yourself? Do you catch yourself having, negative thoughts or comments about other people during a conversation, after a conversation, in your head? Like, how do those thoughts shape the way that you execute on those 75,000 thoughts that you have on a daily basis, right? Does that really drive you? What kind of changes can you make there? Your thinking patterns. How do you go through your day and actually link your thinking patterns together? Like, is it always progressive in a positive way? Or do you go through these negative thought loops, right? You automatically, stress hits in, or a project deadline's missed, or you say something wrong, or a relationship problem occurs. Do you loop on that where you think about it? Like, does it impact the way that you lead your entire day, where you spend hours thinking about it? Like, what would it look like to actually change that? Like, what would it look like to actually put some habit changes into your thinking patterns, to break them, or to hopefully like catch them and stop them from happening more often? Social. How are your spousal relationships, or your partner, your significant other, your best friends, your relationships to your family, close family members, colleagues? Like, what does it look like to you, and what could you work on? Do you have children? What does that look like? I constantly, every year, I build this, coming off of what everybody kind of does a little bit around New Year's Eve. I usually put a lot of attention into resolutions, and a lot of them come up is being a dad, like being a superstar dad. Like, what could I have done better this last year? And I try to think about this on a daily basis, and reflect too about every moment interaction you have with your kids, right? And how that matters. Like, things that you don't do that you want to do later, that you want to do better, things that you did that you want to go back and reflect on and have conversations to improve. Like, how could you really expand on those relationships? Work and school. What does that look like with relationships with your classmates, or with your colleagues at work, and how you can improve those? Your financial, your money situation. Like, are you okay with where you're at, or where do you want to be? Where could you be? What could financial provide to you, right? That you really want? Like, how does it relate to your purpose and what you want in life, versus where you're at today? And then your spiritual. How connected are you? Could you be connected more? Do you practice being grounded? Do you practice connection and purpose? And do you have a sense of religion that kind of grounds you? Where are you at with that? Your character. Do you care about your character building? Right. And so there's so many awesome books out there about this, but a lot of times we forget, like, we lead our lives, we look at social media, we look at other things, and we try to think about, like, oh, well, I'm the CEO of this, or I'm going to be the leader of that, and I'm going to, like, all of those really are just labels, right? Like, what is your identity? Like, how do you identify yourself? Like, what is your rooted character? What are you integrity? What's your integrity level? Like, are you integrous about certain things and aspects of life? Do you have your non-negotiables? Right? If something comes up, like family first, like those type of things, like, what does that look like to you? What is your character makeup? And does it feel like it's aligned with your path that you want? Your passions. Do you wake up with purpose? Do you have that passion identified? Do you have purpose, but you want to dig in further? Like, what would it look like to actually dig in a little bit further on your passions? And then community, and that sense of connection, right? Like, what does it look like to be ingrained in your, not only your tight community, maybe within your home and your family and your close friends, but your outside community, like where you live? Like, are you connected to where you live? Are you out doing events and meeting new people and growing relationships with like-minded people like yourself? Are you growing relationships with non-like-minded people, not for the aspect of, bringing negativity into your life, because you want to be careful who you spend your time with, but it is important to learn new perspectives, right? Because sometimes we create this little bubble about our own little perceived world, right? But really, there's a vast world out there, and what does it look like to have a little bit open-mindedness to perspectives? It might actually help out your biases and your egos, right? And so that's the one-page miracle. Now I want to show you some examples, right? And so one of our clients created this, and I'm not going to drain through what they came up with, but just visualize what you see here, because we gave an outline and they took this to the next level, which is crayons, colors, association of colors to actions, like actions colored in green, right? I mean, green means go, hit the ground running. Like, that's really neat, right? And so also check out the paper that it's on. Like, it's like an old school type colored paper, right? And so it's these type of things that really stick out in your mind. Like, this client is going to excitedly go back to this and look at it, right? Whether it's put up on the wall or it's stored away or wherever, like, I will go back and look at this, right? Versus just a plain piece of paper or a sticky note or whatever. And so think about being creative, okay? The next thing I want to talk through is my own. And why I do this is a lot of people struggle with, well, I'm trying to write these down, but I'm not sure where to go. And how do I map this out? And so I'm just going to cover a couple of these so that you can kind of see what it looks like, right? And so for me, relationships. I want to be intentional in every moment with my kid, right? With my kids, be present, loving, and supportive with my wife. Can conduct weekly check-ins with close family members and best friends, right? Focus on what I have and not what I don't have, because when you focus on what you don't have, you're constantly your emotions are fleeting, right? You're thinking that you haven't accomplished enough or you haven't reached what you want. And there's something to be said about setting goals, but really having gratitude in what you have really recognizes, like, wow, I have an awesome life. Now let's capitalize on that. And so remember what you have. Social and work, never stop learning. I love learning on a constant basis. I read well over 50 plus books a year. I listen to books while I work out. I can't wait to engage in those materials and learn new things. And so what does that look like to you? Money, setting myself up for wealth so that my family and I can travel and do the things that we love, right? Leveraging money to make a better world, a better place. Like, one thing is to bring in money and income, support your family and buy the things that you want and travel. But what does it look like to leverage money to make an impact, right? Because you truly can. Like, you can use that to create businesses, invest in businesses, invest in other people. Like, money can be a huge driver for making impact in the world too. Physical. I am huge into daily exercise. Like, I work out 7 days a week. I mix up in there with yoga and cardio and running and lifting, balancing and stretching, meditation. Like, what does that look like to you? Emotional, like staying grounded, right? Waking up and even starting your day with a simple phrase like, today is going to be an awesome day, right? Those type of things. Like, how do you set your emotions in the right way? And then spiritual, I mentioned yoga and meditation, but how does that make me stay connected? Well, I want to stay connected to my why. I want to revisit my inner self. I want to think about love and kindness practice, which is how can I give back to other people in a thought process, right? Like, how can I give kindness to my wife and my kids and my family members that need it most? And then being able to empathize with other people. And so here are just, some basic bullet outline that will get you to how you build a habit plan, which is how do you actually take action on these particular things. So that was a deep dive into the one-page miracle. Again, like, set this vision map up for yourself. It will change your life. And use the 4 circles of brain health as a guide to be able to do this. Revisit that image so you have a little bit of idea where to go. And again, visit the discovery and self-assessments. They're free. There's no charge. And use those to your advantage. Like, where am I at? Because a lot of times, sometimes we are a little bit aware of where we're at, but until we take some type of assessment, we are unsure of where we're current at in our current health status, brain health, physical health, water intake. Like, maybe you're somebody that thinks that you drink enough water, and then you go and reflect back and you're like, oh my gosh, I drink only 2 glasses of water a day. So use those assessments to your advantage to really understand where you're at and create that awareness so that you can build towards a better future. So Hope you enjoyed this on the one-page miracle. The next lesson is really the strategies and execution of building your one-page miracle and leveraging that with some tools, including behavioral map and tiny habits. And so a little bit more to come on that before we close out this course.